Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Thursday, everybody. Happy Halloween as well. I hope your day and your week are going very well so far. We've got a new day, which of course means a new NBA player prop video to share with you guys. But first, as always, people, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. We just hit 98,000 subscribers yesterday. We're less than 2,000 away from our goal of 100,000. Let's see how fast we can get there. We need your help to get there, though. If you haven't already, please consider hitting that subscribe button down below. We have a ton of great content here on the Guy Boston Sports YouTube channel between football, basketball, baseball's now over. Congrats to the Dodgers beating the Yankees. Love that. But we have a ton of great stuff here, and the best part is all the picks are 100% free, guys. So please, if you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. With a new day comes a new opportunity to go ahead and make some money. I've got seven player props in tonight's NBA slate. I found a lot of value in the picks for the 4 games going on tonight on Halloween night. But first, before we dive into today's picks, a quick little recap of how we did last night. And there's no sugarcoating it, guys. We had our worst performance of the NBA season thus far. We went 1-3 last night. We lost the 2.05 units. We're still positive on the year, 26-22. The units plus 0.7. Now, of course, that is because we took a couple of risks there with some bigger unit plays that didn't pan out. But overall, we are still giving out more winning plays than losing plays here on the video series. 26-22 overall. 26-22 overall this season. Like I said, just a really rough night last night. We did get the Mikal Bridges prop that did hit, but unfortunately, I made the Giddey joke about Josh Giddey yesterday. That went and bite me in the ass. Miles Bridges just sucked last night, and Wembanyama got hurt and just didn't play. He hasn't really been covering a lot of lines at all this season, to be honest. But guys, the best part about life is if you're fortunate enough to get to wake up the next day and try it over again. So 7 player props in tonight's slate. We're not going to let last night destroy the vibes. We're still running positive here. Let's go ahead and win some money on this Halloween night, guys. 7 props coming your way right now. And because it is Halloween night, guys, I do want to do a little giveaway here. So go ahead and comment spooky down below in the comments. And one lucky commenter will be selected to win a free $15 Amazon gift card. To those who go ahead and comment, what am I going to do with $15? It's free $15, guys. Put it towards whatever you want to put it towards. But no matter what, free money is free money. For those who say, make those kind of comments, you're probably not going to get selected for the free gift card. So like I said, guys, comment spooky down below in the comments. And one lucky commenter will be selected to win a free $15 Amazon gift card. Our first pick in today's NBA slate, we're targeting the Milwaukee Bucks-Memphis Grizzlies game. 8 p.m. tip-off tonight. We're going Dame Lillard of the Bucks over 31.5 points plus assists. Pretty good value on the odds as well. Minus 105 on BetMGM, minus 108 on FanDuel, available on multiple sports books for varying odds. We're going to throw 1 unit on this play. And the data so far this year is pretty solid for Dame Lillard. He's cashed the over in 3 out of 4 games this year for the Milwaukee Bucks, averaging 34.25 points plus assists per game this season for Milwaukee. He did miss it in the Brooklyn game. He had 21 points and 4 assists in that loss for Milwaukee. But overall this year, pretty solid numbers for Dame Lillard. Now, the head-to-head data, not as intriguing. He played Memphis once last year, and he just barely missed the over. He had 31 points plus assists in that game. We're getting at 31.5 here. So, of course, he just barely missed the mark. But he did cash this at a 53% hit rate overall last year, 31.53 points plus assists per game average last season. Overall, Memphis on the right side of the screen here, they're okay defensively last year, middle of the road in both points and assists allowed. Versus point guards, they were actually bottom half of the league in both points and assists allowed, 17th in points, 22nd in assists. The important thing to note here, guys, is that Chris Middleton is out again for Milwaukee, and when he's out, Damian Lillard's stats are pretty insane. So just looking at last season's data for a reference points, Damian Lillard had 11.7 potential assists per game last year for Milwaukee, played about 35.5 minutes, and took about 17.6 shots per game with a 43% field goal percentage. Those were his numbers overall last year. Now we put a filter to show the games last year without Chris Middleton. Still a 52% hit rate on the over for Lillard. His overall average did slightly dip, but the opportunities increased. You see now 13 potential assists per game without Middleton last year. The minutes are roughly the same, and he's taken about 1 more shot per game last season. 9.4 threes attempted versus 8.7 threes attempted. The point being is that when Middleton is out, Damian Lillard's usage goes up. His opportunities, the amount of assists, the amount of shots taken, everything increases when Middleton isn't playing. And that remains true for this year as well, because all 4 games so far this year, the Bucks have had no Chris Middleton. You look at the numbers so far this year, 14.3 potential assists per game for Damian Lillard. He's obviously playing about 35 minutes per game, 17 shots, and 9.8 three-pointers attempted per game this year. So the volume is certainly there. Giannis is also listed as probable, but he's obviously a little dinged up here early in the season. I like Damian Lillard. I think he's going to have a really high usage rate. I think Memphis defensively, they're okay, but nothing really fantastic. All right, guys, next up we got Rockets, Mavs, 8:30 p.m. tip-off tonight. Actually, I have a few player props from this one. Our first player prop, though, from this game, our second player prop overall. We're going with Klay Thompson here of the Dallas Mavericks over 14.5 points. I don't know about you guys, but I'm still getting used to seeing Klay Thompson in a Mavericks uniform. It's been 4 games, but it's still really weird. Like, he's played with the Warriors his entire career. My whole life I've seen him as a Warrior, and now see him as a Dallas Maverick. It is very strange. We got his over in points here. So far, pretty good data this year with the Dallas Mavericks. You see a 75% hit rate overall this year. He's averaging 16.5 points per game so far as a Dallas Maverick. Some pretty good cash as well. His last game versus Minnesota, only 7 points. His only miss so far this year. And he cashed the line pretty consistently last year with the Golden State Warriors, 68% hit rate, 53 out of 78 games last year. Now his role and his fit within that team is very different from what he is right now with Dallas, but overall still a pretty good cover rate. And the head-to-head data, each of the last 3 times he faced off with the Houston Rockets, again, all as a member of the Golden State Warriors, he did cash the over pretty convincingly, averaging 22.67 points per game. The key thing I would note here is the minutes played not too different. So 29.8 minutes per game in those 3 meetings with the Houston Rockets last year. He's taking 14 shots and 10 threes per game in those 3 matchups. And those numbers are not too far off from what he's doing so far this year with the Dallas Mavericks. He's 29.2 minutes per game so far, pretty much the same. 12.8 attempts. He's taking a couple fewer shots per game, but still about 13 attempts per game, pretty close to what he was doing last year in those 3 matchups, and about 10 threes per game. So even though he's in Dallas and his role is a little bit different than what it was in Golden State, the minutes, the usage, the shot attempts, it's all practically the same as what we saw in those 3 meetings with the Houston Rockets last season. So that to me is very encouraging. Obviously, you see his usage rate is still very high. He's taking a ton of shots. You look at the 3-pointers attempted. Again, that Minnesota game is the only game so far this year where he really had a down performance. In that one, you see the minutes. He still played 29 minutes in that game. But the key thing here is he's taking a lot of shots. Again, almost 10 threes per game. Some of them like 12 threes in this one, 11 threes in this one. Pretty good data. Overall, Houston last year, they were 13th in the NBA in points, allowed 113.2 points per game last season. Versus the shooting guard position, though, 18th in the NBA, bottom half of the league, giving up 27.3 points per game last season. I think Klay Thompson's a pretty solid play here. And again, for plus 100 on DraftKings, minus 105, I don't really know why it shows 2 different odds. Either way, the value is pretty solid overall. We're going to throw 0.75, so 3/4 of a unit on this play. Pretty good value here for Klay Thompson, over 14.5 points. Next up, we're going Luka, over 8.5 rebounds for the Dallas Mavericks here. Again, they're from minus 113 over on FanDuel here. Pretty good numbers on this one as well. So far this year, 3 out of 4 games Luka has cashed the over. The only game he missed was versus Minnesota, and he just missed it by 1. So pretty good numbers there for Luka, averaging 9.25 rebounds per game this season. And look at the head-to-head numbers, pretty solid as well. Each of the last 3 times he's faced off with the Houston Rockets, he's cashed the over, of course, all dating back to last season. But pretty good cash rates there versus Houston, average of 10 rebounds per game versus the Rockets. And overall last season, a 64% hit rate on the over, 59 out of 92 games last year he cashed the over, averaging 9.29 rebounds per game last season. Just want to show this to you guys. This is a very specific data range. So this is games last year without Maxi Kleber, who's obviously out tonight, but with Daniel Gafford and with Derek Lively, just to go ahead and show you guys what that looks like. And still, including playoffs, a 67% hit rate on the over for Luka. Just to show you guys that when Kleber's out, it's one less guy to go ahead and take rebound chances away from Luka. He averaged 9.5 rebounds in those games where Maxi was out and Gafford and Lively were playing a good, healthy amount of minutes there. So pretty good numbers there for Luka in that data range. Overall, last year, the Houston Rockets were 24th in the NBA in rebounds allowed, 44.9 rebounds per game allowed to opposing teams. Not very good. Again, Luka's kind of a weird player because you don't really know what to put his position as. He's not really, he's a point guard slash shooting guard slash small forward slash everything. I don't know. He's a unicorn, really. Point guard, 13th in rebounds allowed. Shooting guards, 27th in rebounds allowed. And small forwards, 13th in rebounds allowed. Any way you swing it, the Rockets were not a great defensive rebounding team. Like, they don't really stop teams from getting rebounds. They also weren't like the worst, but overall I think it's a solid matchup. Again, pretty 100% cover rate last year versus Houston. And our 4th player prop overall, guys, and our 3rd player prop from this Rockets Mavericks game, we're going with Fred VanVleet of the Houston Rockets over 6.5 assists. This play and the Luka play, we're going to throw 1 unit on both of those. Forgot to mention that for the Luka prop. So far this year, 2 of 4 games, Fred VanVleet has cashed the over, a 50% hit rate, with an average of 6.25 assists per game this season for the Rockets. Not too shabby. Last year, VanVleet had a really high cover rate, 64% cover rate on this over with an average of 8.07 assists per game last season. And the head-to-head data is pretty solid as well. 3 of his last 4 meetings with the Dallas Mavericks, again, all taking place last year, he did cash the over, a 75% hit rate with an average of 8.75 assists per game. So some really big assist numbers against Dallas. Only 1 game, which is back on December 22nd. He only had 4 assists in that one. But overall, some really big games for the assist mark for Fred VanVleet last year. Overall, the Dallas Mavericks were bottom 10 in the NBA last season in assists allowed, giving up 27.5 assists per game to opposing teams, versus point guards in particular, about middle of the road, 14th in the NBA, 8.4 assists per game allowed to opposing point guards. So it kind of lines up with what his average was, again, head to head last year. VanVleet, 8.75 assists per game. And the insights provided by Outlier, Fred VanVleet has exceeded 6.5 assists in 5 of his last 6 games versus bottom 10 defenses for assists allowed, 8 assists per game average, and 83% hit rate in the last 6 games dating back to last year. And you see so far 3 games this season fit that data range. He's cashed in 2 of the 3 games this year where he's faced off with a team that's bottom 10 overall in assists allowed. So pretty good spot here for VanVleet. We're going to go throw 1 unit on this one. We got 3 picks left in tonight's slate, guys. But first, before we continue on with the picks, a quick word from our sponsor over at Outlier. Guys, Outlier is the best sports betting tool in the market. If you watched the video so far, all the data, all the insights I provided in today's video is brought to you guys by Outlier. It consolidates everything that you need to make smart sports betting choices all in one easy and convenient place. And the best part is they're giving you guys a very special offer. Use the link down below in the description to get a 7-day free trial to check it out for yourself. There's so much data and so much information out loud. I can't possibly show it all to you in a single video. The best thing is to go ahead and play around with it yourself. Go ahead and use the link down below. You got no risk involved. You try it for 7 days. You don't like it, cancel it. No cost at all. You do like it, it's $19.99 a month after that. And listen, if you're making smart sports betting choices, it should go ahead and pay for itself. I say all the time, guys, even if they weren't a sponsor, I mean no bullshit, genuinely. Even if they weren't a sponsor, I'd still pay for Outlier because it really is worth it, especially when it comes to player props and stuff like that. It's player props, 99% of the work is the data. It's the matchup and stuff like that. So, obviously, you can go ahead and do the research on. You don't need Outlier necessarily, but good luck spending hours and hours and hours jumping from multiple websites to try to find the information that you need. This takes everything that you need, puts it in one place. It saves you so much time, so much effort, and should hopefully make you some money. Special thank you to Outlier for sponsoring today's video, guys. Make sure to go ahead and check that link down below in the description. All right, guys, next up, this one's a pretty easy one for me. We got Spurs Jazz, 9 p.m. tip-off tonight. We're going Victor Wembanyama here under 39.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. We're throwing 1 unit on this, minus 105 on DraftKings, so pretty good value as well. It's just really hard for me to take any of Wemby's overs right now. Now, he's not having a terrible season necessarily, but he's had a couple of rough games this year for sure. He's actually cashed this under at a 100% hit rate so far this year. All 4 games this season, he's cashed this under, averaging 29.75 points plus rebounds plus assists per game. He actually covered this line pretty consistently last year overall as well. 69 nice percent hit rate overall last year. 49 out of 71 games for San Antonio, he cashed the under, averaging 35.93 points plus rebounds plus assists per game last season. And that line makes sense because you do see a couple of those misses were this game against Houston literally just missed it by 1 point / rebound / assists. So pretty close misses there, but overall they're still misses nonetheless. He had a really bad game last night versus OKC. He did leave the game early in that one, came back and played, but you can tell he just wasn't himself. We had obviously his over in rebounds last night. He only finished with 8 rebounds. And the head-to-head data is obviously really solid as well. At a 100% hit rate versus the Utah Jazz last season. In all 3 meetings, he averaged about 31 points plus rebounds plus assists per game. Utah, they're actually not bad against big men. Walker Kessler kind of holds it down low. Now, overall last year versus centers, they were 4th in rebounds allowed. So centers don't really get a lot of rebounds when they face off with Utah. They're 13th in assists allowed, but they are 23rd in points allowed to opposing centers last year, averaging 19.4 points per game allowed to opposing centers. But again, Walker Kessler's a pretty solid rim protector. I like him in the matchup here. Again, Wemby cashed the under all 3 times he faced off with Utah last season. But the most important data point for me is the fact that San Antonio is on the second day of a back-to-back. Wemby obviously got a little banged up last night, and the data for Wemby on back-to-backs looks good in our favor, not very good if you're taking the over here. We're going to put that filter here. So we're going to go days of rest. We're going to go ahead and show back-to-back, which obviously he's currently on. And you see last year an 88% hit rate on this under when Wemby's on the second day of a back-to-back. 7 out of 8 games last year. Only one time did he cash the over, which was the Lakers. He had 27 points, 10 rebounds, and 8 assists back on February 23rd. An average of 31 points plus rebounds plus assists. Again, he had a couple of close misses there versus the Timberwolves here, versus the Grizzlies here, versus the Cavs here. Okay, some close misses there, but overall you do see that the under consistently cashed when Wemby's playing on short rest. And in case that didn't convince you guys, there's also can show you guys the data, 3rd game in 4 days, which obviously he's currently on, his 3rd game in 4 days, and you see a 100% hit rate last year. 7 out of 7 games when he's playing his 3rd game in 4 days, he cashed the under, averaging 30.71 points plus rebounds plus assists a game. Again, some close misses in there, but overall, they're still misses. So I like the under a lot here for Wembanyama. We're getting pretty good value on it as well, minus 105 odds on DraftKings. All right, guys, 2 props left. We're now moving on to the Clippers-Suns game, 10:30 p.m. tip-off tonight. We're going Devin Booker of the Phoenix Suns under 3.5 rebounds. There's actually a plus money play. It's for plus 100 on FanDuel, so good value odds on that one. But it is plus money for a reason. Overall, last year, Devin Booker, a 35% hit rate on the under. 25 out of 72 games last year, he cashed the under, averaging 4.46 rebounds per game last year with Phoenix. However, so far this year, the data looks pretty good in our direction. He's cashed the under in rebounds in 3 of 4 games this year for the Phoenix Suns, a 75% hit rate, averaging 2.75 rebounds per game so far this year with Phoenix. And on top of that, the head-to-head data dating back to last year looks pretty solid. You see 4 of his last 5 games against the Clippers, he's cashed the under, an 80% hit rate, averaging 2 rebounds per game against the Clippers. Now, the one time they've already played this year, just a couple days ago, back on October 23rd, about a week ago, he had 4 rebounds in that game. However, that game did go to overtime, so a little extra minutes played. But overall, you'll see he just doesn't have a ton of rebound chances when he plays the Clippers, an average of 5.3 rebound chances per game when playing the Clippers. So just not a ton of rebound opportunities in some of these matchups. So like I said, the data overall last year, not great. So far this year, it's decent. It's the reason why it's a plus money play. But overall, the Clippers, not a bad rebounding team at all. Top 5 in rebounds. Not giving up a ton of rebounds to opposing teams. And versus shooting guards, they're 13th, 7.5. Definitely one of the weaker areas of this team. But versus point guards, they're second best. It's a plus money play. We're going to throw half a unit on this one. We're not going to throw a full unit, just half a unit on this one. I just think the data so far this year is worth taking a look at. And the insights provided by Outlier here, Devin Booker has failed to exceed 3.5 rebounds in 13 of his last 17 games, averaging just 2.9 rebounds per game average, a 76% hit rate in his last 17 games. So dating back to last year, including this year, you see that under has been cashing pretty consistently. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and bump this up from half a unit. We're going to do 3/4 of a unit, so 0.75 units on this one as well. The data looks really good overall. Like I said, I know the data overall last year was 35%, but over the last 17 games, dating back to the last season, the unders hit pretty consistently, including so far this year. In our seventh and final prop in today's slate, we're looking at James Harden here over 15.5 rebounds plus assists. Now, the data so far this year is really solid. He's cashed it in 3 out of 4 games this year, a 75% hit rate, averaging 18.75 rebounds plus assists per game this year for the Clippers. The only time he missed it was last night against the Portland Trailblazers. He just missed it by 1. He had 10 assists and 5 rebounds in that loss for the Clippers. The head-to-head data, though, also looks fantastic. You see each of his last 3 meetings with the Phoenix Suns here, including this matchup so far this year, this season opener, where he had 12 rebounds and 8 assists, actually his best performance versus the Suns so far, at least as a member of the Clippers, I should say. Really good numbers, though. He's averaging 17.67 rebounds and assists per game in each of his last 3 meetings with the Phoenix Suns. Now, look at the matchup overall. Now, overall, the Clippers are actually pretty good in terms of rebounding and pretty good in terms of assists allowed, but versus point guards and versus shooting guards, not so much. Versus point guards, 11th in rebounds allowed, 22nd in assists allowed, and versus shooting guards, 22nd in rebounds allowed, and 20th in assists allowed. So it's actually a pretty solid matchup here for James Harden. Again, his usage rate so far this year has been absolutely through the roof. You see 16.7 potential assists per game, 14 rebound chances per game, and he's averaging about 36.2 minutes per game. Harden is playing on the second night of a back-to-back. However, believe it or not, the numbers are actually slightly better than his overall marks when playing off a back-to-back. See, last year, overall, we know it was a 35% hit rate on the under. Apologies, a 28% hit rate on this over. He didn't cash this over very much overall last season. But the numbers were actually better last year when he was playing on less rest. And now it's still not a great mark, but it goes from 28% to 42% when playing on the second night of a back-to-back, averaging 14.83 rebounds plus assists per game, including the last 10 games playing off of short rest, a 60% hit rate, with an average of 16.2 rebounds plus assists per game. We actually already even have a data point this year. He played the Warriors back on October 27th on the second night of a back-to-back, and he did cash the over with 11 assists and 7 rebounds in that matchup. And we also have a head-to-head data point here. Last year, when he faced off with the Phoenix Suns on the second night of a back-to-back, cashed the over with 7 rebounds and 10 assists. It's minus 105 odds here in DraftKings. I'm going to take the over here with James Harden. He's been cashing it really consistently all season long. I like the spot here for Harden. So guys, that is it for today's video. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. One more time, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. Make sure to comment spooky down below in the comments, and one lucky commenter will be selected to win a free $15 Amazon gift card. Tomorrow, I got a special treat for you guys, no pun intended, for Halloween. We obviously have our Freaky Friday 5-leg parlay coming out tomorrow. Really excited about that. But on top of that, we also have the start of our first ladder challenge of the year. I tried to do this a little bit last season. We kind of tailed off towards the end of the year. But at the beginning of every month, I want to do a little ladder challenge. So you're actually going to get 2 parlays in tomorrow's Freaky Friday video. We'll obviously get the regular Freaky Friday parlay, as well as the smaller, not as big, but smaller ladder challenge parlay as well to celebrate the 1st of November. We'll be doing that the 1st of every month of the NBA season, throughout even the playoffs included. So a big day tomorrow, 2 parlays coming your way. Make sure to go ahead and subscribe, and make sure to check out that video tomorrow. Again, some really good plays coming your way. Until tomorrow, guys, hope you're all winners. Enjoy your Halloween. Happy Halloween. If you're on the younger side, you got kids, hope you get some candy. On the older side, drink responsibly.